Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel, Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Today I'm bringing you a carefully crafted deep dive about Yağmur Yüksel and Barış Baktaş. All the details are right here. If you enjoy the video, please press the like button, subscribe, and, if you'd like to support the channel even more, click the join button below. Thank you, and let's get into it. From the first episode of Kentsesecleri, the chemistry between Yağmur Yüksel and Barış Baktaş seemed to crackle with a life of its own. Viewers fell for Dylan and Baron, but what held attention long after the end credits was the sense that the effortless timing, the long pauses, and the small, unforced smiles might be echoing something real. As weeks turned into months, the storyline on screen matured, so did a separate narrative unfolding just outside the spotlight. On set, colleagues described both actors as meticulous, early to rehearsal, thoughtful with notes, and precise about continuity. If a blocking change meant the light favored one angle over another, Barış adjusted without fuss. If a prop threatened to break character motivation, Yağmur quietly asked the script supervisor for a small tweak. Those decisions are standard in a professional environment, yet fans attuned to nuance began tracing a pattern. She'd remind him of a line cut the moment cut was called. He'd step half a pace back so her eye line could play more powerfully to camera. Individually, these are routine; collectively, they felt like the shorthand of two people who understood each other beyond the script. The clues didn't stop at the studio gates. Social media fed curiosity with threads of coincidence. One evening, their stories appeared minutes apart. The same track, a wistful, mid-tempo ballad, underscored two different views of Istanbul at dusk. Days later, both posted end-of-week photos tagged from different neighborhoods, yet the sky matched in a way that made fan accounts line them up side by side. Nothing explicit, nothing confirmable, but enough to spark the phrase that would trend repeatedly: soft signals. The first truly decisive moment arrived after a charity fundraiser attended by the cast and crew. It was an ordinary industry gathering, step and repeat, quick interviews, a short speech about the cause. Yağmur slipped in early and kept the focus on the event. Barış arrived near showtime and moved through the room with the usual calm gratitude. Then, just after midnight, each account pushed a near-identical image: two hands, interlaced, no faces, no photographer credit, captioned only with a single word about gratitude. It wasn't an announcement, but it wasn't a denial either. Fans named it immediately, the soft launch. From there, scrutiny intensified, but behavior on set didn't waver. Schedules ran with the same discipline. No special treatment. No sudden interviews together. If anything, both tightened boundaries. Directors later praised their focus, noting that the final episodes carried an emotional weight without tipping into melodrama. When the audience noticed that later scenes between Dylan and Baron carried a new, measured tenderness, the production had a simple answer: better actors, learning how to do more with less. Off-camera, however, hints still slipped through in ways that felt organic rather than engineered. There was the weekend by the sea, no geotags, no posed selfies, just two separate posts featuring the horizon at nearly the same angle, uploaded hours apart. There was a bouquet visible on the corner of Yağmur's kitchen island in a morning story. Not long after, Barış shared a passage from a novel about two people learning to protect what's fragile without suffocating it. Individually, these are everyday moments. Viewed together, they became a collage of restraint. As speculation mounted, the loudest rumor was engagement. It spread quickly, as these things do: a jewelry box spotted in a relative's photo, a quick glimpse of a ring-shaped reflection that detectives in the comments swore they could see. Instead of feeding the fire, both actors stayed the course. At a panel, when asked directly about their private lives, Barış offered a line that felt decidedly intentional: work first, always. When life has something to say, we'll let it speak for itself. Weeks later, Yağmur added a companion thought during a short live session: some celebrations need roots before they can hold the weight of a crowd. Inside the production, the atmosphere reflected this quiet pact. Crew members noted that their scenes together were rehearsed thoroughly but without fanfare. Between takes, the interaction was warm, efficient, and unremarkable. Exactly how professionals prefer it when external noise threatens to distract. If a particularly intense scene finished, they didn't rush to the monitors to admire themselves. They asked about the shape of the next beat, the reason for a line break, or whether a silence could stretch 1 second longer for the sake of the arc. That is where connection often reveals itself, not in grand gestures, but in the shared instinct to protect the work. When Secretary reached its final block of episodes, something almost inevitable happened. The story felt fuller, steadier, more earned. That's not magic, it's craft meeting clarity. At the wrap event, colleagues toasted not just the ratings and the international sales, but the patience with which the leads handled pressure. A director thanked them for keeping the story bigger than the spotlight. An assistant camera operator joked that their softest marks were somehow always the sharpest. And yes, somewhere near the exit, two people exchanged a look that suggested gratitude for the journey and an unspoken agreement to keep what mattered private. What comes next is the question that makes publicists nervous and fans excited. Offers exist on both sides of the equation. There's talk of a limited series that would place them on opposite sides of a family dispute, no romance, just the electricity of two strong wills colliding. Another pitch imagines them as reluctant partners in a small coastal town, tasked with rescuing a failing business while navigating old grievances. And then there are separate projects designed to pull them into different creative galaxies, proving that each can carry a universe without the gravitational pull of the other. Any of these paths could be the right one. The only wrong path would be the one chosen to satisfy noise instead of narrative. Amid the guessing, it's important to acknowledge what set this story apart from typical tabloid arcs. There were no staged stunts, no reactive statements, no cryptic subtweets inviting misreadings. The signal, if that's what it was, arrived with restraint, then receded into the background so the work could breathe. For fans who crave certainty, that can be frustrating. For those who appreciate a steadier rhythm, it's a sign of respect. Respect for the audience, for colleagues, and for the notion that affection is strongest when not parceled out in content drops. There is also a broader lesson here about how admiration translates to action. The most compelling fan communities are the ones that learn to balance curiosity with care. They amplify successes, ignore bait, and refuse to turn speculation into harassment. In recent months, the best of the Secretary audience demonstrated precisely that. Hashtags trended not just for rumored developments, but for award campaigns, charity tie-ins, and behind-the-scenes crew appreciation. Whether or not there is a ring, that kind of culture is the thing worth protecting. So, are Yağmur Yüksel and Barış backed as the next great iconic pair of Turkish television, destined to headline a string of projects together? Or are they two formidable artists who will occasionally meet where the story demands it, then return to distinct paths that widen their range? The truth probably lives somewhere in the middle. What matters is that their careers continue to be defined by the choices they make when nobody's watching, what scripts they champion, what boundaries they draw, and what parts of themselves they're willing to share. If you've enjoyed this long-form look, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Tell me in the comments, what kind of project would you like to see them in next? A slow-burn drama with zero romance, a high-stakes thriller, or a domestic story that leans into quiet realism? And if you'd like to support the channel more directly, the join button is right below this video. Your support helps us keep these stories thoughtful and respectful. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye.